Hey, before we even start, I want you to do something for me. I want you to think of someone you know. Could be your mother, your neighbor, your old coworker, who is somewhere between 70 and 80 years old. Got someone in mind? Good. Now I want you to ask yourself honestly, could that person get up off the floor right now, this second, without using their hands? Don't answer yet. Just hold that thought, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why that one question, that one tiny everyday movement, tells doctors more about how long someone is going to live than almost anything else we can measure, more than their cholesterol, more than their blood pressure, sometimes more than their actual medical chart. And today, I'm going to walk you through 8 of these hidden markers. 8 things your body should still be able to do in your 70s and 80s if you're aging the way nature actually intended you to age, not the way most people assume aging has to go. And I'm telling you right now, the one at the very end of this list, the very last one, it's not the one people expect. And once you hear why it matters, you are going to look at your own daily habits completely differently. So here's the thing nobody tells you growing up. We get taught to measure age in birthdays, cake, candles, another year on the calendar. But if you've ever met two 75-year-olds side by side, you already know birthdays are basically meaningless. One of them is hiking on weekends, sharp as a tack, still driving at night, still living completely on their own terms. The other one is the same age, same birth year, but they're moving slow, foggy, dependent on other people for basic things. Same number of candles, completely different bodies, completely different brains. And after years of sitting with patients on both sides of that divide, here's what I can tell you for certain. It was almost never about luck, and it wasn't really about genetics either, not in the way people assume. It came down to a handful of physical and mental abilities that either got preserved or got lost. And the wild part is, most people don't even know these abilities are being tracked by researchers as some of the strongest predictors we have for independence, for staying out of a nursing home, for keeping your mind clear into your 80s and beyond. So stick with me, because I'm going to break down each one in plain language, no jargon, the way I'd explain it to my own family. And I'll tell you exactly what you can start doing today, this week, to protect or even rebuild every single one of these. Let's start at number 8, and this is the one I mentioned, getting up off the floor without using your hands. I know it sounds almost too simple to matter, but stay with me. Researchers who study aging have looked specifically at this movement, the sight to floor and back up to standing without bracing yourself on furniture or pushing off with your hands. And what they consistently find is that how well someone performs this single test correlates strongly with how many more healthy years they have ahead of them. Here's why it's such a powerful signal. To get up off the floor cleanly, your body needs several systems working together at once: strong hip and thigh muscles, decent core stability, flexible joints, and a nervous system that can coordinate balance while you're moving through space. After about 70, we naturally start losing what's called fast twitch muscle fiber, and that's specifically the type of muscle that gives you quick, explosive power, the kind that catches you when you stumble or pushes you back upright before you fall all the way down. Lose enough of it, and a small stumble that used to be nothing becomes a serious fall, and falls are genuinely one of the leading causes of injury and loss of independence in older adults in this country. I think about patients like this all the time, someone in their mid-70s who's had a couple of falls, who's started avoiding the floor entirely because getting back up feels impossible, and how much that quietly shrinks their world. They stop gardening, stop playing with grandkids on the rug, stop doing the small things that make life feel full. The encouraging part is that this is trainable at almost any age. If you want to work on it, start small. Practice sitting down onto the floor and standing back up using as little hand support as possible. Do it a couple times a week. Pair it with basic leg strengthening like sit to stands from a chair, and make sure you're getting enough vitamin D, because deficiency in that vitamin has been linked to faster muscle loss as we age, and a huge number of older adults are walking around deficient without knowing it. Number 7. Balancing on one leg for at least 10 seconds with your eyes open. I know, sounds like something you'd do for a party trick, but researchers treat this as a genuine vital sign. When you stand on one leg, your brain is running an incredibly sophisticated background operation. Your inner ear is constantly feeding your brain information about your head's position in space. Your eyes are tracking the horizon to help orient you, and your ankle, knee, and hip joints are making tiny micro adjustments dozens of times a second to keep you upright. Studies following older adults have found that people who struggle to hold that 10-second single leg stand carry a meaningfully higher risk of serious health decline over the following years compared to people who can do it easily. And here's the part that really gets me. This balance system is a classic use it or lose it system. If you stop challenging it, it deteriorates, sometimes faster than people expect. But if you keep training it even a little, it stays remarkably resilient, even into very old age. So the prescription here is almost embarrassingly simple. Brush your teeth standing on one leg, switch legs halfway through. Once that gets easy, try it with your eyes closed, which removes your visual input and forces your inner ear and joints to work even harder. That's genuinely a more advanced level of training than most gym balance exercises. And nutritionally, magnesium plays an important supporting role in nerve and muscle signaling, and a lot of adults over 70 run low on it without realizing, so it's worth a conversation with your doctor about whether your levels are where they should be. Number 6. Walking a quarter mile, about 4 city blocks, without needing to stop and rest. This one is deceptively important because walking speed and walking endurance are two of the most consistently reliable predictors researchers use when they're trying to estimate someone's overall health trajectory in later life, sometimes more reliable than the standard numbers we obsess over, like blood pressure readings in isolation. Here's the physiology behind it. As we move past our mid-70s, our cardiovascular system naturally becomes less efficient at delivering oxygen to working muscles, and at the same time, the tiny energy factories inside our cells, called mitochondria, start to decline both in number and in how efficiently they function. But, and this is the encouraging twist, regular walking actually stimulates your body to build new mitochondria, a process researchers call mitochondrial biogenesis, which is honestly one of the most powerful anti-aging tools available to us, and it's completely free. My advice, get outside rather than on a treadmill if you can. Uneven ground and changing terrain actually engage your brain and your balance system in ways a flat treadmill belt never will. Walk 4 blocks without stopping this week. If that's a stretch right now, that's completely fine. Build toward it gradually, add a block every week or two. And if you want a nutritional ally here, CoQ10 has shown some promise in supporting mitochondrial efficiency in older adults. Again, worth a conversation with your physician rather than just grabbing a bottle off a shelf. Number 5. Being able to carry on a real conversation while doing something physical at the same time. Walking and talking. Cooking while chatting with someone in the kitchen, gardening while half listening to a podcast and still being able to respond when someone talks to you. This sounds completely ordinary, but it's actually a sophisticated cognitive skill called dual tasking, and researchers who study Alzheimer's and dementia have noted a specific pattern they sometimes call stop walking when talking, where people who can no longer maintain a conversation while walking, who literally have to stop walking to focus on speaking, often show measurable signs of cognitive change earlier than others. The reason this matters is that dual tasking draws on your prefrontal cortex, basically your brain's command center for planning and decision making. At the same time, it draws on motor control and working memory. When all of that can run smoothly at once, it's a good sign those different brain regions are still communicating efficiently with each other. Think of your brain like a city, and your different abilities, memory, movement, language, are different neighborhoods, and the roads connecting them are your neural pathways. Dual tasking is rush hour. It tests whether those roads can handle real traffic without gridlock. So here's something you can actually practice. Every day, try to intentionally combine a physical task with a mental one. Walk while doing simple math out loud. Cook a new recipe while listening to something that requires actual attention. Garden while having a real back and forth phone call. And omega-3 fatty acids, specifically the kind found in fish, have research behind them supporting healthy brain cell structure. So if your diet is light on fish, that's worth addressing. And now, before we go further, I want to pause for a second because if any of this is landing for you, if you're sitting there thinking about your own parents, or honestly about yourself, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep doing this kind of research and turning it into something useful instead of overwhelming. Okay, let's keep going because we're at the halfway point and the next few are the ones that surprise people the most. Number 4, being able to read normal-sized print without needing magnification, or at least without your vision being a major daily obstacle. This one gets overlooked constantly because we treat eyesight as a separate, almost cosmetic issue. Glasses, reading glasses, no big deal. But your eyes are actually a direct extension of your central nervous system. The retina is literally brain tissue, and researchers have found that uncorrected vision problems in older adults are associated with faster rates of cognitive decline compared to people whose vision is well managed. After 70, the pupil naturally narrows and the lens of the eye yellows, which together means significantly less light reaches the retina than it used to, and the light-sensing cells back there gradually lose some of their ability to regenerate. The encouraging news is there's a lot within your control here. Lutein and zeaxanthin, two nutrients concentrated in dark leafy greens like spinach and kale, have real research behind them supporting eye health and reducing risk of macular degeneration. Pair that with regular eye exams, because plenty of vision changes are completely correctable and just go unaddressed for years out of habit or avoidance. And try to ease off the phone or tablet screen in the hour before bed. The blue light exposure isn't doing your eyes or your sleep any favors. Number 3, being able to remember a short list of items. Say 4 things someone asked you to grab from the store, 30 minutes later without writing it down. This specific kind of memory, called delayed recall, is one of the earliest and most sensitive indicators researchers use to track the health of the hippocampus, which is essentially your brain's memory hub. When this starts slipping, people often describe it as life feeling flatter, less vivid, even when nothing specific has gone wrong. But here's what I find genuinely hopeful about this particular marker. It's deeply tied to something almost more emotional than purely biological anticipation. When you can still feel real excitement about something coming up, a trip, a dinner with friends, learning something new, that feeling reflects your brain's reward circuitry, centered around a chemical called dopamine, still actively working and engaging your prefrontal cortex. In plain terms, your brain is still projecting itself forward in time, still planning for a future it expects to enjoy, and that capacity is closely linked to lower rates of depression and slower cognitive aging in long-term studies. The encouraging part, this circuitry stays plastic, meaning it responds to what you do. Novelty, new experiences, learning a new skill, travel, social connection can all help keep these pathways active. So here's the practical version. Deliberately schedule one thing to look forward to every single week. It does not need to be big, a new recipe, a short outing, a class, a phone call you've been meaning to make. The size doesn't matter, the anticipation does. Combine that with regular movement, ideally something that gets your heart rate up a bit, since aerobic activity supports healthy dopamine signaling. Number 2, this is the one I told you about at the start, recovering quickly from minor setbacks, a cold, a rough night of sleep, a stressful week, and bouncing back within a few days rather than weeks. Clinicians sometimes call this physiological resilience, and more than almost anything else on this list, it's the real dividing line between someone who's aging well and someone who's becoming frail. Resilience depends on multiple systems cooperating, how fast your immune system responds, how well your body controls inflammation, how balanced your hormones are, how efficiently your cells produce energy. When resilience starts to break down, even small stressors start piling up instead of resolving. And that's one of the earliest warning signs of what's clinically called frailty, a state that significantly raises someone's risk of hospitalization and loss of independence. But when resilience is intact, the body behaves the way a well-tuned system should. It responds to stress, then efficiently returns to baseline. And the genuinely good news, resilience is trainable. Sleep quality, adequate protein intake, resistance training, and real social connection all measurably support your body's ability to bounce back. Even something as basic as a daily walk and a consistent sleep schedule can meaningfully improve how fast you recover from being sick or run down. And that brings us to number 1, the marker that I'd argue underpins every single other one on this list: getting a genuinely restorative night of sleep and waking up actually feeling rested. I saved this for last on purpose because sleep isn't passive downtime the way a lot of people think about it. It's one of the most active maintenance processes your body runs, and it only runs properly while you're unconscious in deep sleep. During the deepest stages of sleep, your brain activates something called the glymphatic system, which functions almost like an overnight cleaning crew, clearing out waste products that build up in brain tissue during the day, including a protein called amyloid beta, the same protein implicated in Alzheimer's disease. Researchers have found that this cleaning process is dramatically more active during sleep than during waking hours. The problem is, as we age, reaching deep sleep naturally becomes harder. Older adults spend meaningfully less time in deep sleep than younger adults do, and less deep sleep means less of that overnight cleaning getting done. This isn't speculation, it's one of the mechanisms researchers studying dementia consider genuinely central to the disease process. So, what can you actually do about it? Anchor your wake time. Get up at roughly the same time every single day, including weekends. Your circadian rhythm is largely set by morning light, so get outside within 30 minutes of waking if you possibly can. That single habit does more for sleep quality than most supplements ever will. Keep your bedroom cool, somewhere around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, since your core body temperature needs to drop to properly initiate deep sleep. And be honest with yourself about alcohol. It might feel relaxing in the moment, but it's genuinely one of the most reliable disruptors of deep and REM sleep we know of, even in moderate amounts. I think about patients I've worked with who'd gone years barely sleeping through the night, dealing with word-finding trouble, balance issues, weight that wouldn't budge no matter what they tried, and how much changed once sleep architecture actually got addressed properly, often within a couple of months. Sleep isn't a luxury at this stage of life. It's closer to the master switch that determines whether everything else you're doing even works. So here's where I want to bring you back to where we started. If you can still get up off the floor without your hands, balance on one leg with your eyes open, walk a quarter mile without stopping, hold a real conversation while doing something physical, read without your vision getting in the way, remember a short list half an hour later, bounce back quickly from a cold or a bad week, and sleep deeply and wake up actually rested. You are operating in a category that genuinely is rare for your age group, and that's not flattery. That's just what the research on aging consistently shows. And if some of these have slipped a little, I really need you to hear this part clearly. It's not too late, not even close. The body, even at 75, even at 85, retains a real and well-documented capacity to adapt, to rebuild strength, to recover function, when it's given consistent support instead of being written off. Independence isn't just a convenience, it's dignity. It's pouring your own coffee, driving yourself to see someone you love, looking in the mirror and recognizing the person looking back as still fully present and fully alive. If this gave you something today, a little hope, a little direction, maybe even just a nudge to call someone you care about, do me a favor and subscribe and send this to someone in your life who's in this exact season. A parent, a grandparent, maybe even yourself. I read the comments on every single one of these, so tell me down there, which of these 8 surprised you the most, and which one are you going to start working on this week? I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself, you're worth it. VidIQ Sonnet 4.6. Low Claude is AI and